Welcome to Barrel Brothers, and this week we're back on the Viperccino. Stay tuned. Today we're back on the Viperccino, specifically onto the A3A's that we built for it a little while ago. There's a little problem with them. I'll explain the problem and then I'll show you how we're going to fix it. So let's go down and let's have a look at the car. Our problem specifically is this edge of the tyre just here and its relationship to the firewall, which is just back there. Now, because we've widened the track of the vehicle, this, as it turns back, just connects with the firewall back in there, which I'll demonstrate now. We just take the wheels and turn them a bit like this. You can see this problem here. I'll get a light. You can see here where that edge of the tyre collects the firewall there. Why was it a problem with the A3A? Well, that's all due to the sizing of them. So let's go back upstairs, get a bit of paper out and a pen, and I'll show you why. It's specifically because of how I like to run my wheels, which is flush with the guards. You can see there, and you can see here. Right? Look at that. Just about bang on. It looks good, it fills it up, but the trick with doing it is you have to stretch the tyre. See, there's the edge of the wheel, and the edge of the tyre is back here, so it's actually stretched inwards. And what we're going to have to do is stretch them a little bit more. But I've done some numbers and I think I've nailed it. Okay, here we are back upstairs with our bit of paper that I've done a little bit of working out on already, but I'll go through all that again with you. And for this you will need a pointer, of course, because these are the handiest thing in the world. Handiest? I need to point that out to you. Okay, dad jokes aside. A ruler, piece of paper and a pen, calculator, or if you can do numbers in your head, which I can't, so there you go. All right, so the original wheel on this, on the Cappuccino, is this little sucker here, which is a 14 by 5 plus 45. It's pretty narrow, and the hub is very near to the, that's like there. You know, very near to the face. Now, because we're running flares and whatnot, we need to run a bit more dish to fill that up, which is half of my problem, because it now the sweep as it turns, scrub radius, as it turns, it pulls around closer to the firewall, because the actual wheel, you know, physically is sitting out. It's actually sitting about there. That's how much wider we are. Just eyeballing it here. That looks about right. So as you can see, it sits a fair chunk out this way, and this sits actually a fair bit further in. I'll get to that. I'll get back to that later. I know what's happening. As I'm bumping this desk, my cars are falling down my cabinet over here. We'll get to it. We'll get to that too. All right, so we're not running that wheel. I don't know why I've still got them for rolling it around, and I don't know if we need to fix the bodywork again. Don't think about it. It's all fixed now, as you might have seen. It's all fixed up. So this guy here is a 14 by 7 minus 7. Now minus meaning that the centre of the wheel, right, is where everything, it's where your offset is measured from. Being a minus, it's 7 millimetres further out. So there's 7 millimetres more distance from the centre of the wheel from the hub of the wheel to here than there is from the hub of the wheel to there. Get that? This is a plus 45. So our hub is about here. So from the centre of the wheel, plus 45 means that the wheel moves inwards compared to the car. Do you understand that? So offsets, that's how you work them out. Pluses mean wheels move inwards, lower pluses and into minuses means the wheel moves outwards, and it's all measured from where the hub is. So you can't, I had a lot of people over the years saying, okay, I've got such and such a wheel and I want to keep the same offset, but I want to add some more lip to it. Well, you can't, because think about it, all right? So here's my 7-inch wheel, 3.5 inches is here. So there's the actual center of the wheel that I've just marked here. Got it? So if we, that's a 7-inch wide, if we widen this to 8 inches wide, okay, if we add 1 inch to the width, which means, and wheels are measured from here to here, not here to here. Got that? Not the overall, it's where the tyre bead seats. Trap for young players. So if we widen our wheel to an 8, the centre of the wheel will be at 4 inches. See? The centre moves. You can't keep the same, well, you can keep the same offset, but you can't keep the same offset and put a wider lip on it. If you want to keep the same offset, you have to add an inch here and an inch here, which means, yes. So, that is a 14 by 7 minus 7. So there's the centre of the wheel, minus 7 millimetres. This is a bit of a roughie, which means our hub, if we're looking from the outside, is about there. Okay? So, centre of the wheel, it's gone back to there. Ignore this one. It's gone back to there, which means it's pushed the wheel outwards. So, this edge of the wheel here is bang on. Our white ones that we made, the racing hearts, those are a 7.5 plus 2. So very similar. I think there's 2 or 3 millimetres difference just off the top of my head in this edge. I think this one sticks out a little bit further. So actually, so if we add a half an inch to that, and that will go down, that'll go to plus 1. About 3 millimetres difference in where this sits. So the hearts that we've got downstairs sit 3 millimetres further in, that edge there. Got it? Okay, so let's get on to tyres. So as we were looking at our tyre down there, we've got a slight stretch on it, and that's on a 7.5. On a 7, what it does is it stands the tyre up further. If you imagine the tyre's doing this as you stretch it and as you squeeze it back up, right? So on the other wheel, it's like that. If we push it in to fit this, and it stands, notice the edge is moving outwards, and that sticks out further. When you turn, it clobbers the firewall. So what we need to do is we need to put bigger barrels on it. How much bigger? Well, that still clobbers it a little bit, but the ones on at the moment still clobber it a little bit. But I think if we put the right size barrel on this, this might be the perfect wheel for the car. And this is like the perfect wheel for the car because Mark 1 Vipers run a 3-spoke. A silver 3-spoke. Witness Benny's vehicle, which has 3-spoke silver wheels. Without keeping our theme, I mean, the hearts look great, but these are much more keeping with the theme. Okay, now just getting briefly back onto tyres too. The standard tyre on these things is a 165 65 14. What we're running down there at the moment is a 185 60 14. Now the actual tyre is a little bit taller. That helps lift the front of the car up. But I had those 185s on this and it stood up too far, and so I couldn't turn, so I put the 165 on and then drove it home, and then we all know what happened there. I don't even think about it. Anyway, so it's taller, like there's our 165, here's our 185, so it's actually standing higher, so that edge is getting closer to the firewall again, so it's a bit of a compound problem. But as I said, if we put the right size barrel on it, I think we'll get it nailed. Yeah. So now we've just got to work out what size barrel to put on them. Oh no, there's been a horrible accident. My GTRs are almost falling off there. The gun's fallen over and pushed everything forward, so my little car that my little Reebok 31 that my mate Kevin Sand got me from Japan all those years ago, and it still spins around too when the light's on it. Oh no, my offset calculator's fallen over as well. And look, these up here as well. I might have to attach this to the wall because this bench is just shaking that around and things aren't good. Here we go again. We have our, I'm going to do it with a texter so you can actually see it. Pen, couple of rules, calculator. So let's have a look at our three wheels. We have the stock wheel, which is a 14 by 5 plus 45. We have our racing heart, which is what's on the car at the moment, which is a 14 by 7.5 plus 2. And then we have our Advan A3A, which is a 14 by 7 minus 7. Okay, let's have a look at what they actually look like. So let's start way to buggery down here somewhere, I think. So we want, first up, 14 by 5. Now this is not going to be perfect because this is such a fat pen. All right, so half of 5 is 2.5. Got that? That's the centre of the wheel. Now this one, this particular wheel, is plus 45. Plus 45 is there. So that's what the hub on the wheel is. The actual end of the wheel is out, is another ½ an inch. Remember what I said about the, this is where the tyre bead seats. It's not the actual edge of the wheel. Add ½ an inch for the actual edge of the wheel and you'll be pretty much spot on all the time. On the front and on the back. So never measure them overall. So what I'll do now is I will take that hub size at a bit of a roughie. Let's just square it up with the edge of the page and we'll run a dotted line down so we keep all of our hubs at the same dimension. Okay, so the next one is a 14 by 7.5 plus 2. This is imperial, that measurement's imperial, that measurement's metric. Why? I have no idea. That's just how they are, okay? So 7.5 is there. Half of 7.5 is, that's right, 3 3/4. Half of 7 is 7.5. 3 3/4 is there, okay? But that's not where the hub is. That's where the centre of the wheel is. It's a plus 2. So we're going to add another 2 millimetres to that, to our 3 3/4. Okay, so we go across 2 mil, and this is our racing heart. 7.5, and I know that is where our hub is. Okay, as you see, it sits a fair bit further out because the standard wheel actually sits a fair way inside the guard, and then we've got 2 inches of flares on them as well, and we want to fill up the guard, so you know it's actually just under 3 inches further out. As you said, that's our scrub problem. All right, so Advan A3A is a 14 by 7 minus 7. All right, so half of 7 is 3.5. Let's do it. Well, let's do it up a little bit closer to there. 3.5 minus 7 millimetres. So means we actually, if I sit that on 7 millimetres, we're pushing it out 7 mil. Got that? All right, so we know where our hub is already. Hub face is there. 7. Okay. So those are our 3 wheels. Now, remember I said this one sits about 3 millimetres further out than the racing heart? Well, there's your proof, right there. So, let's go back and measure the wheels. Let's get all this crap out of the way. So, I know when we built these in the first place, they were 6 inches wide and they had bugger all lip on them. So what I did was put a 3-inch lip on that. So let's take our rule and just mark that out. 1, 2, 3. As you can see, at about there. All right. Now, we have, this is a sandwich type wheel, if you see. There's the centre, there's the barrel. There's the centre, there's the lip. So the lip is bolted and welded on the front, and the barrel is welded onto the back. So, it's a roughly ½ an inch there. So our barrel is about there. Okay? So that will give us a 3.5 inch barrel. Okay? 3 inch plus 3.5 is 6.5, right? Plus 1/2 inch for the centre. That gives us a 7-inch wide wheel. Got it? Cool. So we go back to our drawing here, and we know on this wheel that we have a 3-inch lip. I usually draw them like that. And we have a 3.5-inch barrel, which goes that way. Okay, got that? That's our barrel. That's our nice and shiny, dirty. Easy. If we make it a 7.5-inch wide, so it's roughly the same as the racing heart. See, it sticks out slightly further, and that will give us roughly a 14 by 7 minus 1, because we add 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch on that. It pulls our centre back that way. All right, the hub's staying where it is, but the centre of the wheel is moving back that way. Understand? All right, 3.5, we've gone back, remember? Now, if we go to 7.5, that makes our centre of the wheel there. So it makes this plus a little bit. But further than that, I'm thinking if we go to an 8, have a look at this. Very similar to where the original wheel sat. And that had the actual tyre on this wheel, if we imagine the wheel like that, was actually like a chef's hat, you know, muffin top, so it bulged outwards. What we want is for it to come inwards. So that's what's going to happen, I'm thinking. If we go to an 8-inch wide, it will pull that tyre. See, our tyre is at the moment like that, roughly, say. This one will pull it in, and I'm exaggerating here, further, so that edge will be further across, see? If we pull it in further like that. So I'm thinking that's the one we need. So what size lip do we need? Well, it's pretty easy. We know our lip is a 3.5-inch wide. That's a 4-inch lip. That's a 4.5. So we need 14 by 4.5-inch inners. Okay? I kept saying lips in that last one. Barrels. Okay? That's a lip. That's a barrel. That's an inner. That's an outer. Okay? Barrels that we want. We want 4.5-inch barrels. And that's really no problem. They're pretty readily available because they are what we call an XR4 size, or an SSR XR4. There must have been a while there where SSR was the only guys punching out lips and barrels, because there is a lot of wheels from around this era that use SSR lips and barrels. Not all the SSR stuff, except for Mark IIs and Mark IIIs, which have their own size. Later on they came up, they changed the centre, but because those were the first wheels that they did. Mark I, Mark II, Mark IIIs, they were the first. Then the F series, and then they got onto Suzuka XR4s, and there was a particular size there. They just made everything fit. So Star Sharks are all have the same size lip. Julbers, you know, all of those iconic SSR wheels from around that era, except for Mark IIs and Mark IIIs, use the same size lip as Yokohama A3A's do, and A3C's and A3B's, if you can find them. They all use the same size lip. Yeah. Don't believe me? What do you reckon those guys use? Hayashi Techno Phantoms. That's right. XR4 lip, SSR size. What about these guys? Work, Equip 01s. Same again. SSR XR4 lips. And barrels. So they really were on a lot of stuff. So I'll get stuck in and get them ordered, and I think that's about it for this episode. And the next one, we'll start chopping this guy up. Now I've made it hard for myself because I don't have a plasma cutter. I don't have a lot of stuff. All I've got now I've got my tyre machines. I kept my powder coating set up, and I kept my little lathe, and I kept the mill. So I've made it hard for myself. So we can't just like plasma cut. I wonder if Shannon's got a plasma cutter. He might well have. That would make things easy, so I could cut them off. I can still machine through it. It's, you know, not really, it's by the by. We can do all of that. It's not big drama. The thing is, though, that we got to weld the new ones on, and these are all nicely powder coated, the lips and the centres and everything. So can't just hook in there and because it's going to burn all that, and I no longer have the gear. I mean, we've run out of the paint stripper, or my stripper methylene chloride down there. That's all evaporated away, so we don't have that anymore for dipping them into to get it off, and we don't have the blaster either God, I missed that, to blast the rest of it off either. So kind of stuck. So what I'll have to do is find somebody who's very good at carefully welding stuff, which is going to be Shannon, and I will get him to, he might have to do just a little bit at a time so it doesn't heat it up too much and burn the powder coat. But that's where we are at the moment. So I think that'll wrap this episode up. A lot of me talking, but oh, like and subscribe. You know, we're coming up on 6,500 subscribers, which is frankly amazing. I mean, I don't do this for a job. I manage a plastics factory. This is my hobby. You're looking at here. I don't earn money out of it. So yeah, this is just me and a camera. Occasionally some people help with the camera work and the welding and the bits and pieces, but most of the time it's just me and the camera. So thanks very much, everybody, for those of you that subscribe. And like 70% of the people that watch my videos, are subscribed. So which is fantastic. Like, thank you very much. Thanks to all the help I got. This, you know, and our sponsors, which is. That's our sponsors. Yeah, so, you know, the people that I do get in to help, I pay them to do it. You know, I don't, you know, I don't expect stuff for nothing. I'm not a media personality that expects, I'm not a TikToker. Anyway, doesn't matter. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll waffle on a little bit, I know. But that's okay, because Gian just does the big slice. You know, I send him 10 gig of episode, and he sends me back about 3. So a lot of me waffling ends up on the floor. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode where I start hacking these things up, and away we go from there. Look after yourselves. See you later. Thanks for watching. You hear that? Unbelievable the amount. It's Saturday and Sims is out there smashing and banging around. I'm trying to do a little bit of filming. But they stopped clanging around over at Sims, and now we've got alarms going off. Maybe I should come back on Sunday and try that. It's a bloody Saturday, for God's sake.